So Mary, the answer to your question is, having been through the process, I would also like to introduce a bill on abortion, because I think to abort up to term on the grounds of cleft palate is an absolute disgrace. How members of Parliament can campaign protesting about special baby care units closing and then vote for the abortion is nonsense. But if I felt that things would be against me, I would do as I did in 2000. I would consult widely and then make my decision as to what the private members bill would be.
What I'm asking for, if I was given the chance to put down a private members bill, would be a dignity at work bill, giving people the decent, fair wage which they deserve. That's a living wage, not the minimum wage, but also the chance to hold their heads up high and to feel they are treated as human beings in the workplace and given the dignity that they deserve as public servants in the case of my employees, but also in terms of hard-working people everywhere.
It comes under the Equality Act, Sexual Orientation Act 2007, has made it possible for lifestyle choices to be placed over and above religious faith. You'll find that all three parties are unable to make any ground on this. The Conservatives, as you have seen, they pilloried Chris Grayling for defending the B&B's right to decide who sleeps under their roof. David Cameron is supporting the enforcement of civil partnerships on church. Mr Clegg wants homosexuality taught as normal and harmless in faith schools. We all know what the Labour Party is doing on these things. Now, I'm saying that because UKIP have a different policy. We would look at these politically correct laws which prevent people from acting according to their faith. Mr and Mrs Ball, these hotel owners, had operated that hotel for 26 years without a single complaint until that law was passed. And no sooner was the law passed, they had a call from Stonewall, the gay lobby, and two fellas turned up on their door. It's a put-up job. UKIP would get rid of these laws. We'd repeal the politically correct laws and we'd be able to scrap the equality bill which says it's equality, but is no such thing. Christians have been discriminated against, and there's a five-fold increase since these Act came to pass.
I think if you're in the hospitality business, you're in the hospitality business. And if you're in the hospitality business, I'd expect you to put up with visitors, no matter what their race, no matter what their religion, no matter what their sexuality. So I believe if people in the hospitality business should live with that. I think the humiliation of turning people away because you don't like the way they look or you don't like the way that they behave is unacceptable. But I do think it's a shame, I have to say though, that David chose not to answer the first question and to hide behind the law. That's up to him. I'll be perfectly honest with you on this. You may not all be happy with my answer, but it will be what I believe and 100% what I believe. The fact is that a person with religious belief should be fully protected, but that doesn't mean that they can discriminate against someone else. In the case of the B&B, the personal views of the person who owns that B&B are up to them, but we can't discriminate between one person and the next. If you own a business, then you know, I stand for equality for all, regardless of race, gender, sexuality or religion, and I would uphold that in the case of the homosexual couple and the B&B and stick up for their rights.
I think anti-Semitism is an absolute disgrace when we think you have President Ahmadinejad who wants to obliterate the state of Israel. It's absolutely disgraceful. I've asked umpteen questions in Parliament on this issue, Chairman. The only way we can change it is what we're doing now at the programme, taking people to see where the terrible gas chambers were, and it can only be rectified through education.
Often the anti-Semitism slips through the net. People don't necessarily realise how much anti-Semitism there is still in the UK. Yet we have a party, thankfully not represented on this stage tonight, in the British National Party, whose leader has denied the Holocaust in public in the last 10 years. So I campaign regularly against the lies of the BNP, but also the failure of the national media to report racist crime. We need to stand up and acknowledge that these crimes and this anti-Semitism and this racism continues throughout society at the moment.
I mean the statistics for the amount of time that fathers spend with their children, are appalling. And so I would love to see fathers getting more parental leave and getting the chance to spend more time with their children. I think that's essential.
What else I would say is that the role of fathers and mothers has been rather sidelined. Again, I want to come back to the equality issue. We have heard, sorry to say from the other parties tonight, that equality is for all, but these equality laws are actually working against family. The woman who's putting the equality bill through, Harriet Harman, is on record as saying fathers are not necessary. She's recently said that the increase in breakup of marriages is a positive development because it gives greater choice in relationships. So I would like to see a greater support for families. Yes, let's support the nuclear family. Let's say fathers are a good thing, mothers are a good thing. The statistics are overwhelming that children do better in families of one father, one mother, and children. You just can't get past it.
Wholeheartedly, I want to do everything I possibly can to get couples to stay together to look after their children. In my previous constituency, I had the highest number of single parents in the country, and I saluted them how they used to cope with all the challenges that they face. But I absolutely agree with you that we need to encourage people to stick together, to take responsibility and bring up their own children.
I do not in any way think I was disadvantaged by the lack of my father in my life. He wasn't being a positive influence on me, and I think I had a fantastic childhood and a very stable one. And that's why I place the emphasis on stability and love for children, regardless of who they're brought up by. The idea of a safe place for children to be brought up, to be happy and comfortable in their environment is to me the most important thing, and that is regardless of who brings them up.